we got our brand new to us 2014 BMW M5 competition. So yeah, we had found this vehicle actually on Facebook Marketplace. She was listed on there, was actually the first person to message the previous owner, and it is my dream car, right? And right when I saw it, we had jumped on it and had to go and checked it out in person, right? And when we first saw it online, we actually thought it was a frozen matte paint job from actually BMW, right? But it is actually a wrap. It's a wrap, and underneath is the regular gloss black. I believe it's called sapphire black from BMW, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, nonetheless, it's great, and then we'll check it out. So on the back here, looks pretty mint, right? It doesn't even look like it's been an accident or anything, or salvage title, right? Other than the diffuser here, right? You can see the diffuser, it's been a bit cracked there, and also it's been popping out over on the right hand side. And you might be wondering, are you sure it's an M5 or maybe it's a 528, right? It's only got exhaust on one side. Exhaust has been cut off, right? The previous owner must have had some sort of custom exhaust, or maybe had some special tips and kept them for himself. And digging into the car further, we actually noticed that the exhaust is right there, right? Along with a bunch of other crap from the incident. You can see this demolished headlight here. We've been taking a look at how much these go for, and definitely not cheap, right? And it's a bunch of aftermarket parts. You can see here's the demolished spoiler front lip, some modules for the headlight, seems like a fender liner, and just a bunch of miscellaneous junk at this point. Yeah, the trunk also had a spoiler, as you can see. Probably had some nice carbon fiber on. Don't worry, we'll slap one on there as well. So if we take our way around over to the passenger side, you can tell it looks fairly clean, right? It's actually got the nice competition, sorry, not the competition, just the M5 wheels here with the blue calipers. And yeah, you can tell it's been sitting for quite some time with those rusted rooters, but we'll break those in once we get her fixed up here shortly. So this vehicle here actually doesn't have a carbon roof, but it does have a sunroof. And if you can look closely, actually, previous owner had some sort of pattern, LV pattern on there. Not too sure what I think about that. Probably gonna have to take that off here very soon. But yeah, doesn't have a carbon roof, unfortunately, but I'm actually not too sure if they did come with carbon roof or not this year in the 2014, but it'll do. So if you make our way into the interior here, it's got that beautiful red interior from BMW. Alright, so getting into the interior. So this spec actually has all leather door panels, which actually not all M5s come with. So that's great addition onto the vehicle. So yeah, getting into the interior, you can see here that obviously the steering airbag is actually blown, as well as the knee airbag there. And yeah, she's notifying that battery is low. We'll get into that shortly. So the seatbelt actually somehow, the driver's side is actually loose, so we actually don't need that, even though we do actually have a parts card for that, so it's not a worry nonetheless. But yeah, one of the main damages that we actually were hesitant actually for purchasing the vehicle was actually the dash, right? The dashes on these vehicles are actually pretty difficult to find, and we got a parts car, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. So if you click the ignition here, wait for her to boot up. the odometer there. You can see it's very low kilometers on the dash. You can see it's 51,000 kilometers, so very, very low. We don't need to worry too much about the rod bearing just quite yet. Did upgrade this here to the carbon fiber one, which is nice. Looks pretty good. Won't be taking that one off. The passenger knee airbag is blown as well. You can see the roof curtain airbag is blown as well, and also gonna be needing a headliner. Got ripped pretty nicely there. And the passenger seatbelt is locked. Gonna need to get that replaced. But yeah, just very actually surprised that the driver's side seatbelt is fine. Don't know what damages the driver at the time of the incident may have had, and hopefully he's well, but the seatbelt doesn't seem like it did its job of locking up. But yeah, that's the interior. It's a very nice red interior. Yeah, check her out. All right, so now let's get out onto the front of the vehicle and assess the main damage here. Walk our way over here. It's actually got the carbon fiber vent louver things. And so yeah, here she is, the main course. Just take her in as she did. All right, so let's just start assessing the damage here. First thing I want to go over is this C-Bond carbon fiber hood. So yeah, this is an aftermarket hood. It is carbon fiber, and you can tell from here, it is actually, the vehicle is wrapped. So I was actually checking out how much this hood actually goes for. Goes around for $2,000 Canadian, that is. So definitely going to be making sure if we can save it, and hopefully we can. It does look like it's going into the carbon fiber there, and it is splitting down here as well. You can see the latch actually broke off here as well, and it's all splitting here. But if not, we do got a parts cart here that has a hood, and we'll dig into that just maybe in a later video and later in this video as well. All right, so I'm just gonna hand it over to my brother here, and he's gonna take you guys through a closer look through the main damage. So here you are.
Awesome. Hey guys, how's it going? So
This is so good.
so that's me, but and that's Prob. But let's check out the front end here. So if you look at where the majority of the impact happened, it happened right here in the center of the rebar. Okay, and if you look at the frame rails, like on this side, we checked it out when we first looked at the vehicle. It doesn't look like the bolts shifted over there, but we'll have to check it out once it's fully apart, and then definitely we can try on the new rebar from the other car and see if things line up and measure things up, and hopefully the front frame rails are not actually bent, right? So like on this side as well. I'm not sure if you can really see there, it's kind of tucked in back there, but basically, yeah, like the bolts don't look like they've shifted, so hopefully that's good. Okay, and then the rad support, obviously we'll have to swap that over. So what it looks like to us is rad support forward, right? Obviously everything needs to be replaced. The cooling fan there is broken, is pushed up against the pulleys there, which actually looks like it cracked the water pump pulley, and obviously the belt is damaged right there. Okay, so the water pump right there, it's cracked the pulley, if you can see it down there. But other than that, it looks pretty good. We cut the belts off when we actually, when we started it. Before we started, we cut the belts off, so nothing else was spin other than the crank pulley, and it did fire up about 3-4 times and ran pretty smooth. So yeah, we'll get it started in a later video, but yeah, everything in front of the rad support, we'll start taking things apart. We'll find out more about what is actually damaged, what is not. So we'll start keeping the stuff that is not damaged on the side, and then throw the stuff out that we don't need. But also, if you look at the suspension here, this wheel is not sitting right. Something's wrong with the suspension. It doesn't stay straight like the other wheel, and it doesn't go with the steering wheel, move with the steering wheel. So yeah, something's wrong here. We'll check that out later as well. But yeah, we just want to get tearing apart on this car on the front end. And once we start doing that, we'll obviously learn more. But if you look at the parts car over here, it's in really good condition other than the hail damage. There was a huge hailstorm in Calgary, and it looks like, or it seems like it drove through a flood. There's water up to here. Let me show you on the bottom there. Like you can see all that grass dried up. Looks like the water at least went up to the doors or a little bit higher than the doors. So maybe the electronics inside are good or they're not, but it doesn't seem damp inside. So, you know, it should be good. But yeah, like obviously the engine seized as well. We didn't know about that. At Copart, it listed as a non-repairable, but it didn't state mechanical damage. So that was hidden, but it's okay. This engine runs. We just need to swap the whole front end off this car. And shouldn't be too hard. The other thing is the subframe, which I'll actually go back and show you guys is damaged as well in the front of this car. So we'll have to take the subframe off this car, put it on this car in this tight space. So we'll see how we can get that done. But I know it is possible. So yeah, let me just show you guys the subframe on the bottom here. That is another thing that was deterring us from actually looking at this, buying this car, because you know, the dash, when you look at the dash, the whole front clip, subframe, like there's so many, like suspension, right? There's so many little things that need to be addressed, and obviously that's a big scare. But when you have another parts car, it makes things a lot easier. I think it makes things a lot cheaper, and yeah, hopefully this will turn out as a really good build in the end. And it is a competition model, so you know, if you look at that car, it is not a competition model, but parts are pretty much same. It should all bolt on, and it will be a beast on the streets, along with the X5M. Yeah, that's my X5M right there. So black on red interior, sapphire black with red interior, so same spec. So I think they'll look really good on the street together, both these cars, when they're done. But yeah, let's get tearing apart on the front end and see the missing damages underneath the car, in the front of the car. What all is there, and then we can start pulling apart the parts car as well. All right, let's get started. All right, so this is the progress so far. Okay, so if you look at how far back it's been pushed in, the cooling fan is just pushed all the way back. It's cracked at the bottom there, and you can see the subframe is actually fully, you know, cracked right there, just torn apart. And what I'll do is I'll just show you some of the parts here, the pile of parts that we have And I'm not going to go through all this. I just want to show you one particular thing. The back of the radiator has a little imprint of the cooling fan. It looks like it did hit a tree or something. You can see, or a wooden post. There's a bunch of wood chips stuck into the cooler there.
Right after the accident, we'll actually pop that up on the screen here.
But other than that, we're going to continue to take everything apart and just show you the damage all the way up to the engine, and hopefully it stops right there. But yeah, we're doing pretty good so far. All right, so we've got everything off the front of the car. Now we're just left with the engine, the hoses, and the subframe. That's where we are currently sitting with the teardown right now. But yeah, well, let's just assess the damages together, and then we can go from there. So there's a couple hoses that are broken here. Looks like some coolant hoses. There's like a 4-way connection or 5-way connection that's broken. You know, there's just a bunch of random little hoses down here that's broken. So it looks like majority of the impact was down here. And obviously this stuff is going to snap. The water pump pulley is just smashed completely. So yeah, we'll need a new pulley, but maybe we'll just change the water pump. We'll see when we get there what we're going to do. But yeah, on top of the water pump, there's this, I don't know exactly what it is, but there probably was a hose here that broke off. But other than that, like, yeah, like you can see the cracks on the subframe right here that we talked about earlier. A lot of the hoses up here, they're actually in pretty good shape. The intercooler did take a little dent right here. Probably isn't leaking, but we'll still probably change it just because we want the car in good, perfect condition. Other than that, we're going to start to tear apart the subframe. So we're going to start to take the subframe down next. That'll actually be in the next video. So stay tuned for that, because that's going to be a huge deal. We're going to take the subframe down, assess the damages down there. And going forward after that, it's just going to be rebuilding this car using that car. So we're just going to be basically taking everything off that we need off that car. And then we're going to be putting it onto this car. And yeah, and you can see that right now we've already been preparing for that. We've lifted it up on all 4 corners safely, so we can start to remove the subframe. And we do have our engine support bar right there that is just waiting to be used. Brand new support bar, so we can start to get this subframe out. All right, guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe these videos that we're going to be making. This series is actually just first of many, because you know, over the years we've been rebuilding a lot of cars. We just haven't been recording, and there's so much content coming. So just like, share, comment, subscribe, and the next video will be out very soon. So stay in tune for that. Peace.